now we start our graphing homework. So this is number 5. And we're supposed to graph 4 plus 2 sine theta by using symmetry. So we're going to test for symmetry. Hey, it's a sine. So the first one I'm going to check is whether it's symmetric to theta equals pi over 2. So when I do the first part, I check just substituting negative r and negative theta. And because of this 4, that won't work. So I go to part B, and I look at positive r and pi minus theta. So putting that in, I get 4 plus 2, and it's a sine, so sine pi cosine theta minus cosine pi sine theta. Sine pi is 0, and you would get a minus negative 1, so that would be a positive sine theta. So I end up with 4 plus 2 sine theta. So it is symmetric to theta is pi over 2. Now, what does that mean? That means here's theta equals pi over 2, as I showed you in your notes. It means all you have to do is do the points from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. All these places, here, here, here. You can do the 12ths if you want. It gets a better graph, but in this case, it looks like it's going to be a big graph, so you can kind of see what you're supposed to get. All right, so we take our calculator, and we just plug in negative pi over 2. I'm starting right here. Negative pi over 2, which is our 3 pi over 2, right? So, but anyway, I use negative pi over 2 in my calculator, and I got 2. So that means there's a point at 2 here. And I'm symmetric this way and this way, so there's nowhere else to go. So that's the first point. Negative pi over 3 is our 5 pi over 3. I get 2.3. So here's my 2.3 point. And then there would be symmetric across that theta equals pi over 2. I get the second one. So let me use purple here to show you. That was that point. Hang on. That was that point. This was the first point, actually, this side. And then the symmetric one would be on that side. All right, going to negative pi over 3. Oh, that was going to negative pi over 6. So now I am on this guy. And that comes out to be 3. So put a dot right at 3. And symmetric across from that would be at this 7 pi over 6. So I'm going to put a dot there. All right, erase those so you can see what we're doing. All right, moving on to 0, I am at 4. So nice dot there, and so that, and then symmetric across would be at pi there, and so I put a dot there. All right, going to pi over 6, I get 5. So at pi over 6, I'm at 5. And across it would be over here at 5 pi over 6. Pi over 3, I get 5.7. I'm here and here. And then at pi over 2, I'm at 6. So I've done all my points from here to here. And so I know I've graphed everything. Symmetric to this line right here. And so now I can just draw that in. So I was using yellow around here where I have the red line. Okay, so that's what sine 4 plus 2 sine theta looks like. All right, let's look at number 6. Okay, number 6. You have a cosine. So I'm thinking symmetric to the pole. No, symmetric to the polar axis. And so we're going to test that. All right, so is it r negative theta? Put in a regular r, change theta to negative theta, and sure enough, I get the same thing. So we have symmetric to the pole. So there is the symmetry. Okay, so that means we plot from here to here. Okay, from here to here. You can see my arrow in yellow. plot all these points. Pi over 6, pi over 3, pi over 2, 2 pi over 3, 5 pi over 6, and pi and 0. And I should get all the points that I need. All right, so backing up off all those things I wrote. All right, so now let's start plotting points. Starting at 0, I got -6. So here's 0. And if I go backwards, it's supposed to go this way, but if I go backwards, -6, I'm right here. All right, so, oops, okay. Don't want to erase that red. So go back to my eraser and go slower. There. Okay, got my first point. At pi over 6, I'm -5.5. So here's pi over 6, but I have to go negative. Okay, so negative would be the 7 pi over 6, so I'm here. Now, because I'm symmetric to this line right here, that means I can do the 5 pi over 6 one up here. So I can do that one up there, matching that one right there. Nice. All right, so now going to I'm making my way around here. I am at now pi over 3. At pi over 3, I get -4. So -4, again, you would be going this way, but backing up, you would be on this one, so you're at this point right here. And the symmetry, okay, would be right here. Oops. At this point. All right, and now I'm at pi over 2. At pi over 2, I get -2. So there's my point. Oh, here's pi over 2. And then -2 is this one down here. And then symmetry, I would get this one up here. Now, I'm not all the way around. I'm only a quarter of the way around. So don't think you're done just because it looks like you have a circle because you got a little guy inside. So when I go to 2 pi over 3, I get 0. So now I have a point at 0, and that has no symmetry because it's right on the axis there. Going to 5 pi over 6, I get 1.5. So 5 pi over 6, I get a positive 1.5. So that means I'm here and here. And at pi, I get 2, so that means I'm right here. So we can tell we have an inner circle too, or inner shell. So there's that guy, and coming around to the last one. So that was number 6, and I'll do the last one on the next video.